Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Maybe it's morning where you are. Thank you for joining us today. We are looking forward to participating in this virtual Tashlich community service with all of you. In just a moment, I will turn it over to our teacher for this evening, Rabbi Danielle Uppin, who is joining us from Clearwater, Florida. If you are new to the My Jewish Learning community, you're in for a treat. Rabbi Danielle Uppin has been a wonderful meditation leader, Torah study leader. She taught yesterday for our day of learning very, very powerfully for our day of learning to remember those lost. And I'll just say before I turn it over that this year has been really hard, and to think about what it means to let go, especially when we're in the depths of it still being very hard, is why it just makes it even clearer why we should all be here together. So again, thank you, and I will turn it over to you, Rabbi.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mara. And it's so nice to be with all of you. Shalom, shalom from near and from far. And I'm just grateful to have this respite in a chaotic time for me. I'm in Clearwater, Florida. So if you're reading the news, we're in the eye of the storm, as it were. But God willing, it will turn around. We don't say it will turn because then someone else will get it. So maybe it'll just turn around and go back where it came from. But that's so there's a bit of sort of an upending around me of things. That's the world that I'm in. But what was interesting is that coming into this session tonight, it's this evening for me. I Oh, yeah, and I see some of you also are from Florida, so just want to give a shout out to our Florida friends and those who are in the line of the storm, saying to everybody, stay safe and find shelter and take all precautions necessary. And for everyone else from all over the world, we all have our mishigas in the places where we are. So it's really important to take some time, not just this time of year, like every day, to release and let go of things that are weighing us down and occupying real estate in our minds and in our souls and in our hearts and in our body. And you'll notice things get like lodged in ourselves that we don't need. So having this ritual of Tashlich is it's cathartic. And if many of you, I'm sure, have done Tashlich, but if you haven't, Tashlich means to cast off. And it's part of the customs of the season of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, of the new year, of this new season leading up to Hoshana Rabbah. This process of renewal isn't just through prayer. It's not just through asking forgiveness. It's there's so many components to the season, but one of the things that we're asked to do, or what's required of us, is to release and let go. How important that is, how necessary that is, especially after this year that we've had. There are things that we can't let go of. Can't let go of the pain, of the sadness, of hostages, of war, of many things. Maybe you have things in your own life, in your personal narrative, that nobody's asking you to let go of things that maybe we're not ready to let go of. We are inviting ourselves, however, to look at what can we let go of, or what aspect of feeling or of the experience that we've had in this past year can we release? Can we let go of? Right? So we're not asking ourselves in this ritual to do the impossible, to have that clean slate. We're asking really for help from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, from each other. That's a big piece of this as well, and asking for forgiveness and creating room for forgiveness and compassion, but for creating room for letting go of what's extraneous, of what doesn't serve us, of where we've missed the mark. We can't just release where we've missed the mark just by saying so, or just by throwing bread in the water, or just by writing it down and crumpling it up. That's also not really what's being asked of us, but we are invited to take aspects of the things that we want to let go. Maybe something uh maybe there was a grossness in a way we've behaved, a too muchness, an exaggeratedness, an imbalance of some sort that we can let go of. Maybe there are aspects of our anxiety that we experience that we can help ourselves to let go of because it's not helpful, right? So the things that we just carry around that become burdens, right? Those are some categories of things that we can begin to let go of, right? And creating space thereby for more compassion, self-care and love, compassion for each other and love of each other, and just more of an openness and a lightness of being, okay? A greater sense of connectedness. Right? So we are going to do some interaction in our time together. I have a question that I want to pose, which is, how might you help each other? Okay, what advice, without even knowing specifically, right, what people are letting go of this evening, right? What advice do you have for each other for releasing and letting go of this year? So I'd like to ask you to put that in the chat if you want to share, just some brief nugget of advice that maybe someone gave you, or maybe that you've been experiencing lately that you can share with each other. I'm reading, so thank you for taking the challenge here. And I hope you all have access to these beautiful points. Right, so we're giving each other some really good advice, okay? To remind yourself that your life is happening now in the present. Okay. So that's really good advice. How can we be more present, right, without allowing ourselves to slip back into a month ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, to a certain behavior, conversation? Maybe we need to, right? But maybe there are things that we don't need to, and we can allow ourselves to be more present. Let go of things that we can't change. Letting go allows for new growth. Do your best. Let's cultivate some tolerance for each other. Breathe, get in the present moment. Thank you, Rick, and we'll be doing that. That you can't control it, whatever it might be, so don't waste your time and energy trying. Thank you, Daphne. Releasing with gratitude. So important. So important. When we think about what our weight that we're carrying, right? We're What a gift, right? We can be grateful for this opportunity that we can let this go. Relax and surrender, knowing that God has your back. Thank you for that one, because we are going to be singing about that in just a few moments and praying on that as well. Get enough sleep. I wish I had last night. Thank you. That's a good one. Remain hopeful. Breathe. I love my yogis here. Reminding us to breathe, so essential. Like, we're always breathing, right? Otherwise, we're in big trouble. But that mindful breath, that's a big process of this inhale, and then that exhale. We're releasing, we're letting go. We're releasing carbon dioxide. We're letting go of something physically, but also the exhale is that vehicle for letting go of things that don't serve us, that spiritual schmutz, I like to call it. Remain hopeful. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that you have to forget. Okay. Right. For those of us who are working through some serious stuff, right? Chipping away a little bit at a time. Okay. Deep, slow breaths, gratitude, focusing on the good at hand helps us to release um, the things that are not that good, right? Knowing we're not alone, forgiving ourselves, be kind to yourself, don't feel guilty, right? Thank you, Arlene. A little guilt we're gonna need for this season, right? So we can have some self-awareness of recognizing, like, if we've hurt somebody, to have some catalyst to change and transform, but not that kind of berating guilt that weighs on us that feels so heavy that we can't change. Okay, so thank you for that. Living in the moment, listen to others with the intent of learning and understanding, right? Not just preparing our own reply. So thank you. That's a way of releasing, right? Releasing the tension of always having to have something to say or having to be right. Okay, thank you. Um, don't take on the whole Middle East situation as yours alone to solve. We can't. We can't. Knowing our limitations. Thank you. Compassion and self-acceptance, assuming our outrage at the blatant anti-Semitism in the world as a release from being frightened by it. I'm going to have to think about that. I'm sure that's very deep, but something about taking a stance, right? And not just cowering, right? That's a way of allowing ourselves to release fear and anxiety by being present actors in our lives here and now, right? This is such amazing advice. And it keeps going. So I may come back to some of these later, and I'm definitely going to want to grab all of these in the chat so I can look at them and learn from them. But I also have some things to prepare and to share with you. So thank you, everybody. I think we could just do this ritual all night, this ritual of helping each other through a difficult process of releasing and letting go. Right. So you guys keep looking at that, and I think I'll try to come back to that in a bit. There's 67 more, so let's I'll pause on that, but know that it's there and we could keep returning to it. So let's go to that part where God has our back in this ritual of releasing and letting go. And I'd like to do that through a song, a prayer that is the song and the prayer of this season. We say it through these 10 days of Aseret Yemei Tshuva, of the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And it's Avinu Malkeinu. And the melody is so haunting. And I think singing, right, is a way that we can energetically release and let go of tension. Okay, so that's like physiologically proven. Humming, singing, provide some biofeedback to ourselves to kind of change the narrative that's going on in our bodies, in our minds. So I offer that to you as a tool. Singing, especially happy songs, right? Songs that are meaningful to you or that help you to feel something, to kind of transform your energy. So for me, and I think for many of us, that song Avinu Malkeinu could be very potent and helpful. So I'm going to ask Mara if you could repost those words, those lyrics for us in the chat, just in case somebody needs them. And we'll sing. So I had some lyrics too in Hebrew that were going to help me. So I want to grab that. Okay, so let's take a moment here and pause from all of our wordiness and all of our very good help to each other and kind of sink in to some music and melody and this timeless melody where when we hear it and when we see it, we know where we are, places us occasionally squarely where we need to be right now. So here are the words. Let's sing together, and then we'll sing nigun, just the melody itself. Ready? Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Me'aneinu, Avinu malkeinu, chanenu me'anenu, ki ein manu masi. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, Chaneinu Me'aneinu, be gracious to us and answer us. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Me'aneinu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim. For we have no meritorious deeds. Deal charitably and kindly with us and deliver us. Aseimanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseimanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Me'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Me'aneinu, Ki Ein Banu Matzim. Aseimanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseimanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Ay, 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 ay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, nay, nay. Yay, nay, nay. Let's just sit in the aftermath of that melody just for a moment here together. Notice how your body feels if you were singing or listening to the music. And if you were singing, notice maybe a shift in energy within you and around you. Release and let go through the musical notes, through the chain of tradition, and through the way that the energy is able to shift and make room for something new when we sing from our hearts. And if your eyes are closed, beginning to open them. Before we move into the next part of our ritual, just want to dwell on these words that we sang here. Just to note, take note that we're asking from the depth of our being, each of us and all of the Jewish people at this time of year, we're asking for our divine partner, our sovereign, our parent, that is the divine, to be gracious to us, to have chen, chen, chanenu v'anenu. Chen means, hey, God, I'm completely undeserving, but can you help me anyway? Like, I know, I'm not perfect, but still, please, and thank you. And can we do that for ourselves? Can we bring that little bit of chen, of grace, that just freely given love and acceptance and open stance to ourselves to release and let go? Can we do it for each other? Can we offer that grace, that chen, some even modicum of loving acceptance and care to people who are radically different than us, who think differently, who even act differently? Can we offer something? Can we create space for some kind of letting go of anything that holds us back from complete wholeness of being? We're completely undeserving. And yet we still ask. And we believe that God answers. So I wonder if we could do that for each other and for ourselves as well. So let's take a look at some of our sources. And my goal is not to keep us here all night. So we'll have to move through some of these things kind of quickly. But Mara's going to share our screen with us. And I hope so that we can take a look at these texts together. Are you going to, or am I going to?
I'm happy to, and
Okay,
I
so,
also put it in the chat.
oh, good, good, good. Okay. Because I, for some reason, wasn't thinking about that. Um, okay, so let's take a look. Okay, I'm gonna expand my screen. Okay, great. So the metaphor of the sea. So here we are. None of us, I don't think we're sitting at a body of water. I haven't seen where all you are in your Zoomiverse. I'm not. I will say that on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, the day that kind of instructed to do Tashlich, although it doesn't have to be that day, that's just kind of like the beginning of when we could do it. And then we could do it throughout the season through Hoshana Rabbah. And we're doing it tonight together. But that first day of Rosh Hashanah was raining, and I could not bring myself to go out there and do the ritual. Just was unpleasant, and I didn't think I would enjoy it or get anything out of it, and so I decided not to do it with our community members. And in fact, they couldn't go either, so it didn't happen because of the rain. And then the next day, there was an opportunity, and I wasn't feeling right about. It wasn't. I wasn't feeling like it was the right time for me to release and let go. And then it was the next day. It was Shabbat. Can't do it on Shabbat. Then it was Sunday. Couldn't do it on Sunday. I was just too busy. Then there was yesterday. Still didn't get to it. And I started to feel like, am I going to do Tashlich? Like, what? What am I doing? Like, what am I going to, am I just doing Tashlich with my Jewish learning? That's fantastic. But I can go to a body of water. I can do this. So will I do it? So today, in the midst of prep for the hurricane, I went with my daughter and we took our bread and we went out to this little creek, and I was able to take a few moments and throw the bread in and throw the pieces in and really give thought to my life and what do I want to let go of. And it felt cathartic. I really felt something. I really felt something. So I invite you to do that if you haven't been able to yet, and you were waiting to do this, and this, of course, it could be enough, but if you're still wanting more, like, yeah, there's something about taking something and throwing it, tashlich, in physical form away from us, out from us. that you know, kind of like there's another aspect to the meaning of it. Okay. Um, and even in that ritual, when I was throwing the pieces, um, I was kind of disturbed for a moment because the turtles weren't there, and it's probably very unhealthy to be throwing food at them anyway. I realize that. Like, I am an environmentalist, I do care. Um, but there were these little fish instead, and for a moment when I didn't see any turtles, and I panicked, like, is my bread just gonna sit in the water? Or will something happen to it? And these little fish came up, and it looked like they were enjoying it, and it just I needed that too. I needed something to just take it away. So if you're feeling that, like you need to see it like go somewhere, I'm with you. And there's something kind of feeling a transformative feeling about that as well. So here we are. So, thus, by going out to the sea on Rosh Hashanah, we celebrate creation and we're led to think of our own place in God's scheme of creation. And when we contemplate these matters and repent from our sins, then they're truly thrown away into the water and we feel renewed on the day of judgment. And that is Rabbi Moshe Isserles. So, becomes codified, this idea of Tashlich. So, we're going to bring the sources up. And if you could bring it up just a little more. So we have Mina Meitzar here from Psalms 118, 5 through 9. And if you'd like to join with me, please, in English and then in Hebrew. Okay, we're going to sing that first line in a moment. Out of my straits, I called upon God, and God answered me with a great enlargement. God is for me, and I will not fear. What can man do to me? Oh, the Lord is for me as my helper, and I shall gaze upon them that hate me. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. It's very direct language, directly from the Psalms that we sing every holiday and festival. But that first line there, Min hametzar karatiya, actually wrote on this for my Jewish learning. There's a piece there for your reflection if you want to look at that piece a little more deeply at some point. But this idea that many of us often feel that we are in a narrow place, a narrow place, the Meitzar. The Meitzar is the root of Mitzrayim. That's our proverbial Egypt, or that narrow place of bondage and slavery from which we ask to be freed. It's not just that, like, the biblical narrative of being in Mitzrayim. It's a daily, sometimes, moment to moment event of getting ourselves out of that feeling of constriction and asking for some help. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Asking for some help in terms of getting us out of that narrow place and into a place of more breathing space, of more leg room. So this is a codified piece, again, that we say in the ritual of Tashlich, but even in just thinking about it, not just saying the words, but thinking about how these words can open up a space for us in our heart, in our minds, and our consciousness, and break through the fear, break through the narrowness, and create some room, for heaven's sake, for us to live and to be. Okay, so that is the power of this psalm, of that little piece of psalm, and we'll sing on it in just a moment. Let's look at Micah. This is another piece from the traditional liturgy. Mi el kamocha, noseh avon ve'over al poshea. Is there any divinity save you, God, who forgives the sins and pardons the transgressions of the remnants, your people? The remnants, the shayarim, that's us. Do you ever think of yourself as a remnant? I'm feeling that right now. I'm feeling it. When we think about ourselves in every generation, right? Somebody's out to get us. And it's like chipping away at our people. And yet, we're at the pre-Holocaust numbers right now. We still are growing. Right? Nobody can take us away. That the enemies will try to chip away at this she'erit, the shayarim, the leftover. of who we once were. But God takes us in, right? The fragments, and brings us together and holds us close. So, thinking about ourselves in this way and each other in this way, that each of us is so important in this community of Israel. Every one of us has a place. We're all so valued and so dear that we need to see each ourselves this and each other. And everybody needs to do it, right? Not just us. Okay. So again, thinking about allowing ourselves to let go of the parts of ourselves that don't serve us, the places in life where we have missed our mark in this past year, where we shot arrows and missed the target, probably a lot. But it's allowing ourselves to forgive and asking for forgiveness from God and from each other. Okay. All right, let's move on for guidance. So let's take a moment here and think about a time. Maybe this could help anchor us right now. When we have felt that we were in the narrows, that we were in the Meitzar, and maybe we asked for help. Maybe help came from Adonai. Maybe we felt that way. Maybe we felt that help came from an angel. Maybe the angel came in the form of a friend or a parent or a loved one or a family member or a total stranger. Okay. But to think about for a moment, if we're feeling in the narrows right now, if you're feeling that, hopefully we're already starting to get ourselves out of the narrows a little bit, like through this process of being together tonight. But any bit of feeling in that dire strait, I want to invite you to think about a time when you put a prayer out there and your prayer was answered. And if it's not coming like crystal clear, right? Let's chant these words together and see if we can invoke. This is just for you. If you want to share in the chat, you can. Okay, but I don't have a lot of time to process what everyone's saying right now. But if it feels good to share, in a sentence, in a word, in a phrase, a time when you were released from that bondage, in whatever big or small way, to remember what that felt like. Right? So let's sing. It's a chant, and we'll sing it a few times together, and then sit with the feeling of openness. Okay. Min hametzar karatia anani ba'merchavya. Min hametzar karatia anani ba'merchavya. Anani, 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 Ba'merchavya. Anani, 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 Ba'merchavya. Mina mitzar karatia anani ba'merchavya. Mina mitzar karatia anani ba'merchavya. Anani, 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 ba'merchavya. Anani, 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 ba'merchavya. Yain, 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 yain. Yanai, nai, 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 yanai, nai, nai, nai. Yanai, nai, 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 yanai, nai, nai, nai. Yanai, 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 nai, nai, nai. Yai, nai, 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 nai. Yai, nai, nai, yanai, nai, nai, nai. Yai, nai, 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 nai. Ya, nai, nai, ya, nai, 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 nai. I am looking at the chat. And I want to thank our friend here who did remind us that it's never a good idea to feed bread to wildlife and to always find what is suitable in your Tashlich practice. And for those who said they can't get to bodies of water, and that is why this ritual here is so important, right? Throwing something out, putting out seeds out there, like spreading seeds. It's such a beautiful idea. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think this piece here of allowing ourselves to reflect on a time when we felt the release and were able to let go is key. Because for some of us who are feeling like, how am I going to do this? I'm not there yet. I think learning from each other would be actually very helpful. So I see that somebody wrote, movement, that that spaciousness that moves from being sick to being healthy. Okay. So if anyone else can use the chat to offer some other ideas like that. Maybe there was a financial windfall that you felt that you were given help, right? Aid in a time when you needed it. Maybe in a relationship when you thought things were over and you were able to come to a resolution. Right? These are the glimmers that we can release and let go. We have experienced times of a prayer answered. Right? Is critical to have that context for ourselves for when it's harder, maybe to think about times when it was easier, or maybe there were times when it was harder, and sharing, just like in a word, what that was like. Um, what's the feeling like? Right, that's another prompt you can put out here. What's the feeling associated when a prayer is answered, when that space is created? Thank you, everybody. Feeling God's presence. Right? Finally able to get our taxes in, right? After all that work. Right? Comforted by seeds germinating in the community, in the garden, right? Just knowing that there's something gonna sprout up, after we throw those seeds out there. That creates some joy, a sense of satisfaction, okay? Feelings of comfort, okay? All right, confidence, okay? Thank you. Feeling of blessing, thank you. These are so beautiful, okay? So important, right? Glimmers of life after experiencing mourning and death. Right? This is your teachings, okay? So you're teaching me. We all need this right now. We need each other. We need each other's wisdom. So keep it coming. All right, so let's pivot to the next part of our text. So I think we really actually just did this one. So we did all of this. So oops, hold on, not all of it. uh, we did the upper prompts, but I'd like to focus on this prompt here. Thank you. We've done a lot of good inner heart work already of creating space and releasing and letting go. Or at least we've created some groundwork for that, I hope. So I want to get specific now and invite you, if you have, this is for you, okay? You don't have to use the chat. Maybe if you have some pencil and paper, that teshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, these are the tangibles of the season that we're asked to do certain things to alleviate the severity of the decree in the language of our machzor. And forgiveness is a big part of that release and letting go. in all the ways that it shows up in our lives. So I want to take a few minutes here, um, a few minutes, just maybe 5 tops. Okay, Zoom things kind of go quickly, so I'm going to give it 4 minutes. Okay, to journal on these specific questions. And this is just for you. I'm just going to have a little bit of quiet here. Okay, so who is calling for your forgiveness? Jot down at least 3 people whom you can begin to allow yourself to forgive. I didn't say who you could forgive. The question is, who can you allow yourself to begin to forgive? And if that feels too heavy right now and really not in your, just not in your wheelhouse right now, it's okay. I'm not here to push anybody. These are just suggestions, okay? Jot down at least 3 things for which you can forgive yourself. And jot down at least 3 people whom you might believe require some forgiveness from you. So again, these are not meant to be triggering. So please just take it easy on yourself. But if there's anything here that you can cast off in a way by like throwing it up on a vision board to see it clearly in a way to help direct you beyond this space tonight. Okay? That's all we're doing here. Okay. That's all we're doing to allow ourselves to let go of this past year. So just take a few moments on your own for this activity. And this might be just the beginning of a process. So just take one more minute here. A stream of consciousness, whatever comes up for you. Okay. All right, so we're going to keep this as like a beginning of an exercise that maybe you want to return to. And I think somebody asked about the first jot down and the third jot down. The first one is who can I think the word it wasn't I didn't go through this again maybe for better editing. So one is like just simply said, who can you forgive? And the other one is who do you think might need your forgiveness? Like who do you need to ask forgiveness from? Like if did you wrong somebody? Do you need to own that? Think of 3 people that you may have wronged and that you need to own. You need to figure out how to move forward with that and ask for forgiveness. So that's what the third one is. Okay. Because what that is maybe someone didn't ask, maybe someone didn't say to you specifically, you hurt me. But maybe you have a whoosh, a feeling of like, did I hurt that person? Did I misspeak? Did I belittle them? Did I withhold? Um, so there's a lot of room there for interpretation that you can, but you don't have to work with. Okay, so let's move on to the reading. Okay, yeah, this might be hard to see, but we can try. Together, let us cast away the sin of deception so that we will mislead no one in word or deed, nor pretend to be what we are not. Let us cast away the sin of vain ambition, which prompts us to strive for goals which bring neither true fulfillment nor genuine contentment. Let us cast away the sin of stubbornness, so we will neither be consumed by desire for what we lack, nor grow unmindful of the blessings which are already ours. Let us cast away the sin of selfishness, which keeps us from enriching our lives through wider concern and greater sharing, and from reaching out in love to other human beings. Let us cast away the sin of indifference, so that we may be sensitive to the suffering of others and responsive to the needs of our people everywhere. And let us cast away the sin of pride and arrogance, so that we may worship God and serve His purpose in humility and truth. This is a good one. I think really asking us to peel away that klipa, one of the words used in Hasidic interpretation, and that outer shell, the what the obstacles, what's in our way of allowing ourselves to release and let go. You know, starting there. Yeah, let's bring ourselves to a conclusion. So together, let me just think for a second. There's this thing that we're doing here, just kind of giving word to it and noticing the shift of feeling and sensation in our body is I think a big part of our Tashlich tonight. We're not doing anything like necessarily ritualistic here. So for those of you who gave some great ideas, like maybe throwing bird seed, or if you want to write stuff and, kind of throw them away, or, something tangible, if that feels right to you, to kind of to do that, a little bit of some kind of ritual when we're done here together. But our ritual is holding space for the words, for the feeling, for the sensation, and for the permission to let go. So with these last two readings, and then we'll conclude with a song together. On this day of judgment, I take account of my life and relationships during the last year. Of some things I'm proud, of others disappointed or ashamed. And I resolve myself to strengthen and sustain the many mitzvahs I've performed: love in relationships, honesty in business, engagement in the repair of the world. I resolve myself to cast off the blemishes, those actions or words that I regret. Help me to preserve the good and to cast off the bad. Judge me for my life in a year of goodness and blessing. And let's say Amen. And this is a good one for us to hold in our hearts. This is a blessing that we share outward from our own abode, like in our abode, and kind of like spreading it outward. So with this, I'd like us to just kind of visualize as we're saying these words, not just visualize the words, but visualize the meaning of these words and the energy and the fulfillment of these words out in the world. Okay, let our words here create the world that we wish to see. So together, they shall not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters fill the sea. Lo yira'u v'lo yashchitu b'chol har kodshi, ki mal'a ha'aretz da'at et Adonai kamayim layam mechasim. And finally, right, as we continue to visualize here, we'll bring our session of releasing and letting go to a close with a visualization of these words. Once again, still visualizing, and a little bit of singing, a little bit of music, those musical notes to shift the energy, right? And to help shift and cast that energy that we'd like to see out in the world. Okay, so we'll sing a well-known melody, Nurit Hirsch's melody for Oseh Shalom, as we continue to see the fullness of Isaiah's vision and the fullness of our own vision of a perfected world. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru amen. So thank you, in this last 1 minute of our session together, I have a challenge for you, because we released and let go of a lot, right? I hope. I feel like I did, or at least a little, or something. So that means we have a little bit of room now for some goodness, for something we want, right? Some blessing. And so I want to invite you in our last minute together to use this chat to throw out there those seeds of blessing, to plant the seeds. May this year be a year filled with, please tell us, use the chat and let's populate that chat. May this year be a year filled with, let's hear what you got to say. Coming fast. Peace, life, love, health, joy, beauty, understanding, growth, rest, adventure, amuna, chocolate, healing, wholeness, hope, end to hunger, chesed, civility, time, healing, close relationships, safety, thank you, love, fulfillment, understanding, completion, joy, peace, positive political outcomes, kindness, candy, chai, abundance, hope, blessing, peace, 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 compassion, hostages being released. We'll take another little bit more here. Keep them coming. We will dance again. Kindness, community, laughing, greater safety for all. May this year be filled with peace, joy, safe, sweetness, friendship, beauty and honey, family, patience, coming home alive. Peace, strength to Israel. Am Yisrael Chai. More love, more compassion, more singing, more laughter, more aliveness. Hope, fullness of life, civility, feeling happy with our choices. More dogs. Light and love, dancing, sharing, the disappearance of anti-Semitism, comfortable home, running water, good governance. Amen, amen. Hope and health, hope and health. Yes, good coffee. Yeah, thank you. And care for this planet. Gentle care for this planet. Kindness, good weather. What a bracha. What a bracha. Amen, truth. Chai tea. Keep them coming. Or maybe we'll kind of bring this to a close. The IDF members coming home. Thank you. Accessibility. That's beautiful. Joy. Best leadership. more Zoom classes and more in-person classes, more learning, more Torah, more light. Yes, the ability to see beauty in the world. Yeah, we just filled ourselves up, didn't we? But abundance leads to more abundance. So let's bring this session to a close. Let's take all of those good blessings. Let's just hoard them all up, take them, gather them in, bring them into our hearts. Okay, hopefully Mara will help us have that chat. I don't know if we can. Those are such great words. And let's say shalom to each other 3 times for peace, wholeness, abundance, healing, with a big, big, big amen to each other's beautiful efforts tonight. Shalom. 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 Into that, let's all say together, Amen. 1, 2, 3. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, my Jewish learning.